because we're talking about districts merging. There's also words like transition. There's also words like
Hmm.
consolidation. Barbara Proctor, PRP, professional registered parliamentarian and our club president, start us off and take us out of this quagmire. What is a merger?
Madam Toastmaster and members and guests. Robert's Rules of Order is the adopted parliamentary authority by Toastmasters International. And one entire section, section 55, is devoted to mergers, consolidations, and dissolutions of societies. Pretty much, he explains a merger is when one of two entities loses its identity and the other one continues in existence. Where consolidation is when both entities discontinue their independent existence and unite into one entity. In both situations, the process is similar. If one entity is going to give up its identity, they have a board meeting, organizational meeting. They adopt a resolution that Society A, B, and hereby is merged into a Society B as of a specific date. And this resolution requires the same notice and vote that would be required to amend their bylaws. So depending on whatever the bylaws say, will determine the notice and the vote required. And after they adopt that resolution to merge into the other group, they're going to adopt a resolution to assign all of their assets and the liabilities to the new organization. So that's if one gives up the other, they give up the other as of a certain date. Society B also adopts a resolution to accept the assets and the liabilities of A. So you can't have one organization decide, oh, we want to become a member of this other organization. Both organizations have to be in agreement to it. That's for a merger. For consolidation is when two organizations become one. They both give up separate identities and they become one. Again, both adopt resolutions, but when they both give up identities to consolidate into one, typically you have simultaneous meetings on the same day in the same place, and it's effective immediately. And immediately after they adopt those resolutions, they call a mass meeting to organize a new organization and adopt new bylaws. And in both instances, sometimes you have the officers that are dictated ahead of time to serve as capacity as officer during that first year of merger until both entities have given up their assets and they're working together as one. When it comes to the districts, for Toastmasters, districts are not legally separate entities. They are part of the Toastmasters International Corporation. The district directors are officers in the corporation. And the board of directors for Toastmasters is the ones that has the authority to decide how you're going to merge the different districts together, what the boundaries are going to be. So all these decisions have been made at the board of directors at the international level. So the individual districts don't have to worry about making the decisions. They just have to worry about following through with the process. And that is what everyone's going through now. We have a committee that oversees 4 other committees, and each committee has their own jobs and responsibilities to make this happen. Once the districts are merged together, have their new boundaries and everything, then we will have our elections and we will proceed according to the bylaws at international that we follow anyway. So you have your bylaws, you follow your bylaws, you have a merger, you have a little bit of a disruption and everything and who's doing what and leadership and everything. And then once you get through that merger, that 1 year where you actually do this, the following year, you go back to following the bylaws, whatever the bylaws say for the new entity. The bylaws for international require them to review the districts every 3 years. And it did take a 2/3 vote of the board of directors to decide to do this. So it was a serious consideration and a big decision when they voted to do this. Once the criteria is set, after the work's been done, you go back to following your bylaws and it's business as usual. There's just a short period interruption. And once you have your election, it's like it never happened until we grow and then we divide again into many clubs and then we shrink again. So it's like a continual cycle. Madam, back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Barbara. So let's hear about what is happening for all of us. When I first heard that that the districts were going to be realigned in this way, I thought, oh, okay, well, we've split before, big deal. I guess it's sort of ordinary. And then Rick Sider called me and said, hello, do you have any idea what this means? And I said, well, don't I, Rick? And he said, no, you don't have a clue. And I said, well, I guess you'd better start cluing me in. That was the first that I knew that this spring was going to be unlike any of the springs of the last 20 years that I've been in Toastmasters. And I thought we should share this information with as many people as possible and try to understand what it is that the members will have as sort of their responsibilities and what it is that's going on. So I have put in the agenda the long biographies of both of our lovely guests this evening, past International President Pat Johnson and past District Governor and registered parliamentarian Rick Sider. I will not read them, and I could go on and introduce both of them for the next 15 minutes. I think it's more important to get to it. I know you're all capable of reading. I'll put it in the agenda yet again. And I will just say that I've just learned that Rick now is involved in 5 of the upcoming merger meetings. So this man's been through it, he's lived it, and he now knows what is going on. So I'm going to throw out a question, and I'll give Pat, if you want to answer, that's fine. If you want to kick it to Rick, go ahead. I'll let whoever wants to answer. But what is this meeting? What's it all about? Why are we having this spring meeting?
Well, Rick, I'm going to take the floor for just a moment. I want to state my qualifications in this. I was recruited to be on the list of people who were willing to chair these meetings with the support of parliamentarians and the committees that are in place working diligently to amalgamate or whatever the word you want to use for the various districts. So I am in learning mode at the moment. I have not been privy to one of these meetings yet, although I've had some conversation with Rick and Don Griffith, who's also organizing some that Rick is supporting, and had so I'm in the process of understanding it also. What I do know at a high level is that there are a lot of people working on this, that be rest assured that not one set of hands holds anything at one time. There are representatives from each district that are holding on to the issues and protecting them and presenting those viewpoints and interests at that amalgamation level. There are administrative managers who get into the play of being there for the business meeting. There's a realignment committee, and you probably already know of some of the people who are on your realignment committee in your district. There are district leadership committees, and so we have like a nomination committee, who's going to be the officers. So somebody's out there recruiting for leaders to lead this newly formed district. And they're looking, of course, at the districts who are coming together. So just rest assured that no hands ever leave this unattended from the moment it starts until the end of the event where you're arrive at the desired state. So I just want to make that comment to begin with. And then I'm going to rely heavily on Rick also, but I'll answer questions that come up that I can answer. I know things about some of the committees. I understand the quorum. And I really feel like as the chair that we become, I feel like the role of the chair is to be the orchestra conductor, that there is a parliamentarian that never leaves our side. Their job's to keep us out of jail and out of trouble. And as you could well appreciate, and Rick's got no hair left because he's been a parliamentarian for enough years that he's had to save many of us. But we bring all of we coordinate all of that. And I think that as a chair also is to build a relationship and be aware of what's happening with all of these committees so that when we get into the process, that the chair has an understanding of the dynamics of the districts that are forming, perhaps some of the hot spots that have been dealt with or looked at or considered. What are some of the dynamics and challenges that are coming with and the differences between the districts that are being merged, and also the sensitivity that some of the districts are being actually split perhaps even three different ways, so that your pal down the road is going to be in another district. But I will say that we're all Toastmasters and we belong to a worldwide organization at the end of the day, and we're governed all together. And COVID proved to us that the world of Toastmasters sticks together. And I think that it's also important to remember that the vast majority of our club members don't even know what district they're in, nor will it affect their Toastmaster experience. What's so important for them is that they are part of a vibrant, dynamic club and get to learn the skills that they come for. So I think to really, while we're dealing with something globally, we really have to look after our local and be the best we can be. And as leaders, to speak positively, to encourage and not to frighten or set up lesser informed people in our district to be frightened or disenfranchised through this effort. This effort is, well, I wasn't on the board, Roddy, so you can correct me, but I really believe that as stewards of this organization, that the intention is to strengthen the program for our members. And that's the only reason we're here, is for our members. So I feel proud to be part of this process, and I look forward to seeing North America in particular being strengthened in our districts, and to go to district conferences again where there's 200 people and feel the dynamic excitement that I experienced when I joined this organization, which some people have never experienced before. So those are just my general comments. I'm open for specific questions. And if you ask them of Rick, as you mentioned, Penelope, I'll certainly chime in if I have something to say. But I know if he starts to answer a question, he'll answer it so thoroughly, I'll have nothing to say. So I'll turn the meeting over to Rick and Penelope, unless there's something I get asked specifically. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so you mentioned one thing. You said you'd put yourself on the list of people willing to chair these meetings. And to me, that was the first important issue, which is that, as I understand it, World Headquarters is assigning who's going to chair. So it's not a matter of a district. We don't know yet in our district here, 46, who our chair is going to be. So I think it's wonderful that World Headquarters has even taken that sort of major function and is carefully matching people who are willing with the districts that need their help. And I believe the same. I don't know then whether they assign the parliamentarians or whether each chair gets to choose their parliamentarian. I think Rick is already.
You just muted yourself, Penelope.
Well, that was a very silly thing to do.
Thank you. Sounds way better now.
Okay. I don't know when I muted myself, but basically, I think it's important that World Headquarters is choosing our chairs, and then I don't know, and maybe you or Rick know whether the chairs then get to choose their own parliamentarian or whether those are also just being assigned out by world headquarters. Just a curiosity.
Well, I'll just address how I was contacted. And I believe that the board probably put this plan together. And so that the idea of past presidents being asked, first of all, to chair the meetings, because my awareness of who is chairing are to date are all past presidents. There may be other people, but I'm assuming that we're the target audience for that. Uh, I was asked by the chair of your organizing committee if I would be available and on standby to be called to chair reorganization meetings in certain geographical area. Now, Elaine Rogers approached me because I currently live on the East Coast. And so she asked me if I would be on standby to support if needed and called upon to do so. And I said, yes, I would. So I may end up being the chair of your specific meeting or maybe not. I've also was contacted by Don Griffith recently about chairing some of his meetings, and subsequently Gary Schmidt, past international president, has taken those meetings, and I'm backup. So if anything happens to Gary, I'm on standby there. And then I know that Rick is serving in those positions, and I was also asked by Dawn if I knew other parliamentarians to recommend. So I know that the chairs are really diligently looking for those resources to support their process. And oh, I see Elaine's here. She says,
Yes.
I'm still needed. Oh, thank you, Elaine.
Okay.
I can now get my shoulders and my jaw to relax, as Anna suggested. So, so that's the basic process of getting identified, and it would be a plan from the district or from the board that was designed. Yeah.
So how is the credentials committee constituted for these meetings? Because my next series of questions, I'd like you in whatever order you wish, but to talk about the credentials committee and how is quorum determined, and then we'll move into actually who is eligible to vote and what methods of voting are allowed.
Well,
So,
I'll speak to I can speak to who's the quorum, how the quorum is, but then Rick can add to it, and he can also perhaps talk to the credentials committee report or committee because he's been involved with one. Credentials is similar to any other of our business meetings, where credentials is we need a quorum of a third of our vice president of education and our presidents to register, and they will be required to register. It reads in the plan that quorum is calculated ahead of time based on the number of district council members who registered to attend the meeting. And if the chair or other district council member has a reason to believe that quorum is no longer present, a motion can be made to reestablish quorum. Okay. So quorum is determined by 1/3 of all club presidents and vice presidents of education being represented. So we have to recognize that some of those officers may carry 2 votes, right, from different clubs. So counting the number of individuals in a meeting may not be an effective way to judge if quorum is present. So they would actually create a special ballot if someone moves a motion or has to reestablish quorum is present.
and that would be a third of all of the clubs in the reconfigured district.
Yes. Yes.
No matter where they'd ever been in the past, where they're going to be
Yes.
on July 1st, that determines that that is a club that is eligible to have its representation.
Yes. So of course there's that background piece that would be notifying them all in proper timing and well in advance that they carry a vote in this process. Yes.
Okay.
So Rick, you want to fill in the blanks?
Yes, I'd be glad to, Madam President, and Thank you to Roddy for being here, also to two past international presidents. I had the honor and pleasure of working with Gary Schmidt last year in the mergers of District 21 and 96, also 2, 9, and 32. And staying with your question of the quorum, what the districts did was work with the actual credentials chair of the merging districts to encourage the presidents and VP eds that make the quorum to actually register for that meeting. Now, they did not have to show up. All they had to do was register. So the onus was put on them to make sure the quorum was there for each of their districts, although they had a credentials chair over them. So 21 and 96 got their act together, and same thing with 2, 9, and 32. So I'm expecting the districts this year will do something very similar.
Okay. And what method of voting is permitted? Is it all ballot? Is
Well,
it
it depends
Zoom
on
poll?
it depends on what method they want to use, election money, election buddy, whatever. But that I'll show you when we go through the script what actually happened. So, and I'll even explain the oops they had in the new District 2.
Okay.
A lot of the issues will be the same as what happens at a regular district meeting. You'll have to make decisions. What tool are you using for your voting, etc.
Right.
So a lot of that is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just a larger audience.
So, Rick, do you want to just screen share that one slide just so that people can be kind of aware of what this redistricting looks like?
I'm not going to take up the whole screen because I want to switch over to the script in a few moments.
Yeah.
But here is the information that what the realignment transition chair has to put together. The realignment committee of the districts that are coming together, and to my understanding, and I stand to be corrected, that there'll be 9 divisions in the newly formed district. And from that, they also get the district leadership committee. These are the 2 items you are voting on: the realignment and the leadership. But there's also other parts of the transition that are very important. And for example, supposedly on July 1st, they flip the switch and you get a brand new website for the new district. Where is the new district going to hold their first conference in the new year? They have to decide that beforehand. Any district training has to be decided. When are they going to have their first executive committee meeting? So those are very important points that they have to look at. Now, let's see if I get this a little bigger. And that's the new map for North America. Last year, I worked with District 20 up in that top corner, District 2 there, and you could see wherever you live, the new map that is coming together. Any questions on what you see there before I go into the script? Okay. With the script, and if anybody wants it, I will put it in chat, and you could have your own copy of it. Is this a good view on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. This is for the second meeting last year, District 21. District 2 was first. And you could see how the program is put together. Some of the important parts: the call to order, the credentials report to confirm that we have a quorum, and it was an honor to work with Gary Schmidt. You adopt the agenda as presented, and the agenda is very simple. You're doing realignment, voting in the district officers, and any reports. With the alignment, you'll notice I have something there in black. District 2 had a challenge to the realignment. An individual thought it was too far to drive from Seattle to Tacoma, which is about an hour drive. And that's because one of the clubs in the Seattle area, in order to balance out the areas, had to be put into the Tacoma group. And he thought that was too far. And Gary said, Rick, what do we do? I said, asked if there was an objection. There was. So we have to go to a yes/no vote if we accept the realignment. Unfortunately, the Zoom master did not have that prepared, and it took 5 minutes to create a yes/no vote, and the vote was sent out to the members of the district council and the executive of each of the 3 districts or 2 districts, and there was 11 people opposed to having that realignment, so therefore it passed. Then we went into elections, etc. So let's go through the script that I prepared for. Yeah, oh, record the meeting. Okay, Gary called the meeting to order and had the Zoom master explain how the meeting was run. An example here, each person put in the number of votes they had, so the Zoom master or the presiding officer could look at the whole screen of over 100 people, seeing who has votes and who doesn't. And as per World Headquarters, you have to read this disclaimer. As I say, this will be available if you want it. I'll have it in chat. And the district mission has to be read. That is part of running a meeting as for by World Headquarters. The chair makes any remarks necessary. This is the proper way to introduce dignitaries, and the chair has the opportunity to do that or not. Gary chose to do some of this. He didn't go down to area directors, etc., but he did introduce some. First thing you do is appoint an administration manager to take notes. And Gary chose one of the 3 administrator. This is 2190. He chose one of the administration managers to take the notes, and that way we had minutes for the meeting. There is the credentials report, and again, this is a lot of backup material for the presiding officer. And of course, they had a deadline of when the credentials had to be registered. You don't wait till the last minute. And again, one of the things I support is you don't have to vote on everything. And I use my 5 fingers. If there's no objection, we move on. Gary said we have a quorum, etc. The credentials report is accepted. If there's no quorum, World Headquarters has given us directions of what you actually do. The biggie on the bottom is we have to do a mailing, and you don't want to go to that. So the credentials chairs were really pushing hard in each of their districts to make sure they were well represented. And there's some questions. If you do not have a quorum, again, this is taken from World Headquarters policy, etc. And there is the credentials situation for District 21 and 96. At that particular time, they had 171 active clubs. You could see what a quorum is. Eligible delegates at large are listed for you. And a majority vote, 2/3 vote, etc. And again, some housekeeping that Gary did without objection. He appointed people to take care of the duties that are needed during the job. And first item on the agenda was to approve the agenda. Or the first item of business was to approve the agenda. And again, you don't have to go to a vote. Wave those 5 fingers in the air, as I always say. if there are no objections, we will do this. Then we practice voting because some people were not familiar with voting. They maybe chose not to attend their district council meeting for whatever reason, because there was no voting at the last district council meeting before this merger meeting. So, what's your favorite pie, apple or cherry, or whatever the chair wanted to come up with? People practiced, they went to their email, they got the vote, and that took about a half hour. But again, that was good practice. Then we had the realignment report, and this was made available on the two district websites, 21 and 96. People actually knew ahead of time what the realignment was. All they did was just formally present it. And because this comes from a committee, you don't need a seconder. On behalf of the committee, here's the report. Questions are asked. And I like to go into the parliamentary activity of informal consideration. People may want to know why this club is in this area, and they may make a suggestion of moving a club between areas. But by doing it informally, you don't have all the motions, amendments, etc. And once everybody is happy, 5 fingers again. If there's no objection, here we go. And the chair can decide. You want to do a secret ballot? You want a show of hands, unanimous consent? And again, as I mentioned, in District 2, 9, and 32, we had that objection and we had to go to a yes/no vote. Be sure to thank the members of the committee. And here we go with the leadership. Again, a lot of work has gone beforehand to get, let me put that up, to get candidates for as many positions as possible. And District 21 had an interesting situation. As you could see, there was one candidate for district director, two candidates, which means we have a vote. And there was only one candidate for club growth director, which means he had to be nominated from the floor. So again, good examples of what is happening or what can happen. And a lot of this is monotonous in the fact that the presiding officer keeps saying the same thing over and over. This was the report of the credentials chair. Then Gary has to say the exact same thing because as chair, you are putting the motion on the floor. And again, the chair was not notified of any other candidates wishing to contest this. And this again says it has to be done 7 days prior, etc. And this information is found in policy. I just put it there for the chair. Should they be asked a question, there it is. And since there was was only one candidate for district director, Louisa Davis, past her national director, was elected the current District 21 director at the time. Then we go into program quality director. Again, you can see a lot of the stuff is repetition, but chair has to say this, and the two past presidents who are with us this evening, I remember you standing up front, flipping those pages, saying the same thing over and over, and the audience is wondering why you have to do it. It's just part of protocol. And again, here we had two people, a Christopher Chen and a Melody Hellquist. And again, they each were given 2 minutes to speak. And then the audience voted. And of course, Melody was the winner of that contest. And of course, one of the other things, the candidates are allowed to have somebody watch the electronic voting. And again, that has to be made available to them. And club growth director, there was only one person. There was really no nomination because there was only one person, and bylaws say you have to have two. Again, you jump through all the same hoops. and Mark was nominated from the floor. There was no further nominations, and therefore Mark was declared the winner of that contest. And in case there was a further nomination, again, Gary has to go through the same hoops. And then you do the same thing for each of the divisions. And again, my understanding, there might be 9 divisions in each of the new districts being formed. And again, here there were 3 names who were nominated. The rest had to be appointed by the district director-elect and confirmed at the first council meeting in the fall. And if, this is very interesting. If you read Toastmaster policy, these 2 things have to be read at the end of the elections. Then they chose to have a transition committee report, and Gary, as chair, presiding officer, invited the people to the lectern. They gave their reports. Announcements were made of when the next executive committee meeting would be held, when the next council meeting would be held. All this was known beforehand, but the people had to be elected to have this formally put forward. And the adjournment, if there's no further business, I provide general information to the presiding officer on things you'll find in Robert's Rules of Order. And should there be any new business, there is a form that is encouraged to be filled out and given to the secretary. And should we not have a quorum, here's what has to be sent out to the various members of the district council to approve what we have just done. And that's what I have, Madam Toastmaster, and we'll let people ask questions.
Okay, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm breathless just looking at that. I think a regular business meeting is going to be challenging, and I appreciate your laying it all out. Anna, you're going to start with a question?
Yes, thank you, Penelope. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Pat, for this introduction to such a complex topic. I have a question about the credentials committee and the votes. As a past district administration manager, I'm familiar with the club votes and the deck votes contributing to the district council meeting. You explained the quorum, you explained how the quorum is calculated for this joint meeting, but what about the deck votes? Will all DAC members from the current district carry the votes at this business meeting, or will it be somehow modified?
Those who are on the district executive committee are not part of the quorum. They are considered delegates at large. Their votes count, but they're not considered the number needed to create the quorum.
I understand that, but everyone still has their votes, and all current DAC members have their votes.
Yes, that's why there was 55 there, because there was 2 districts, 21 and 96. Well, they each had their individual members of the executive committee, and they were still in power. So they had their vote, because this happened at the end of May, and their term finishes at the end of June. So that's why.
Well, just because I think there may be people on the call that are not so familiar. So can you define who those delegates at large are? What position do they currently hold in the?
Sure, that would be the trio: the administration manager, the finance manager, public relations, all your division directors, and all your area directors. The people who are on the district executive committee are the delegates at large. Now, they could also have another vote or 2 if they are the president of one club and education of another. They could have a total of 3 votes. That's why I showed in that one thing that you put at the beginning, you put how many votes you have in front of your name. So that means if I looked at the screen now, I would have a 0 in front of my name for this club if they were having a vote for something or other. I'm not a member and I don't have a vote.
So, Rick, are the people, because it is everyone from one district has their series of things, everyone
Mhm.
from another has another. Now, say I'm a member of clubs in each of those 2 districts, and just say, for example, I'm a president and I have president and vice president in one district, plus I'm an area director there, so I would technically have 3 votes for that district. But in the other district, I'm also a president. Does that give me 1 vote in the other district?
No
Is it
more.
by, is it by human being or is it by
You can
district?
only have a total of 3 votes.
Per human being, regardless of
Human being.
at the meeting.
Yes. No more than 3.
I think that's an important
Yes.
point for people to decide or to know.
And if I may ask a second part of this question, right now District 119 and District 46 have their own credentials chairs.
Yes.
What about the credentials chair for these joint meetings? Will it be a third person?
You would probably have a person who works with the 2 current credential chair, encouraging them to get their people at the meeting or register for the meeting. As I said, you don't have to show up. But again, then you would lose your ability to vote on the realignment or what people you would like as part of the new district executive. And I think the biggest problem will be having these people register for the last district council meeting, getting a quorum there.
Hmm.
Because there's nothing to vote on at your last district council meeting. In my opinion, there's nothing to vote on because the realignment and new leadership happened at the meeting at the end.
I would encourage people to go to their last district council meeting to acknowledge the district and the growth you've had there and your previous leaders and the strengths and abilities and experiences that you bring into the amalgamated district. I think it's a time for great celebration and a marking of a milestone. I think that's very, very important. So please sell that to your members so that, I think that as we do transition in life, it's very important to celebrate those transitions. And this is a transition for people who are in leadership, particularly. And I think that often we just jump to the next challenge and don't take time to celebrate what we've enjoyed and the things that we've learned and the people that have supported us that may be going to a different district. So have that reunion and celebrate those people and take time to thank them and acknowledge them. And so I think that that's your final district meeting. Please make it a celebration and a recognition event. Yeah, because dynamics change. Yeah, thank you.
AJ, I see your hand raised. I'm going to just cut in with one more credentials question, which I know is unique, maybe unique to our particular district, but we are acquiring 1 club from a 3rd district. And that club has 10 members. And I understand that club would therefore get its 2 votes. That part seems perfectly clear to me. Now, does their area director and their division director each get a vote for the area and division that club is in? And does anyway, I didn't realize that we were acquiring this 1 club from another, and it's throwing everything into disarray. Trying to get committee members from. I don't know how important it is.
I yield to districts at world headquarters to answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the area and division. Of course, the club gets 2 votes, but
Right.
Elaine, do you have any insight into that from your position?
And welcome, Elaine. We should introduce Elaine Rogers, past district governor, past district director, past current genius, and past RA, and a few other wonderful things.
And also group leader for which
Leader.
will be involved with the business meeting. The club, in the instance where the one club is being brought over from another district, they will get 2 votes.
Mhm.
But the area director and the division director, they determine based on where they're going to be.
Okay.
It's not the area director and the division director are not tied to the club.
Yeah.
So they will be tied to their location in the new district.
Oh,
But at the
okay.
time of the meeting, they're still tied to this location.
Yeah, that's true, but it's not because so yeah, they if there's yes, we will have situations where some area directors and division directors may be in 2 different districts, not districts that are combined. They will have to make the decision as to where they're going to cast their vote. That's what I
Oh,
was told by World Headquarters.
oh,
Okay.
interesting.
So chances are if they have 4 or 5 clubs in their area, they're going to go with the majority of clubs and vote in all likeliness then following one club. I mean, well, not often, but it does occur where a world headquarters allow or approves the moving of one club to a new district. I mean, in our old world, as it currently exists, where one club is moved to a different district because of access, etc., and the districts agree to move that, and they vote on that, and then the board approves that. So I'm thinking my context is that would be similar to that you wouldn't necessarily get your area and division directors involved in that.
Mhm.
But I'm just going by common sense, and that might not. I mean, that usually prevails from the board. I don't want to put words in their mouth. Ratty, do you have the answer to this question? It's kind of an anomaly.
Yeah, I heard what Elaine heard on this subject as well. I think the unique situation may be if that area director belonged to that club, they may move
Mhm.
into the new district, but it's like what you said, they would stick with the majority most probably.
Makes sense.
Okay, so AJ, I know that you had a question pending.
Yes, it's very interesting. My question is, suppose you have to mail out ballots, what would be that tedious task be, the procedure?
What I would guess is that the members of the district council to their email of record, as they were to, if they were there voting, the form would go to that email, giving them a certain deadline of a week, X number of days to approve it and send it back to whoever the coordinator is of the email and get that total to the presiding officer. In my case, it would be Gary Schmidt, and I get the pleasure of working with him for 5 more. It's coming.
So AJ, that is a process that is currently in practice that happens in districts. So if that happens where there has to be a mailing vote, that's a very standard practice for the districts currently. That's not a new procedure.
Yes. So do you count that actually replied, or with even abstention you have to reply, otherwise it doesn't count? You just can't just send it out and say, oh, you all got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All you're doing is hoping that the people reply.
Right.
Yeah. And it's a lot of extra work. So it's way better to work and get the quorum there and get the vote done than then to have to do business a month and a half after the meeting's over,
Thank
waiting
you.
for the results or
And
verifying the results.
And if push comes to shove, you could have a recess in the meeting and ask if there's anyone in the audience who has not registered. If they haven't registered, you can get your quorum that way.
If you're close enough.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
We don't want to be looking for 100 votes.
Okay. I'm going to actually just go around my little Zoom boxes here to pick up with people to see what other questions people might have. So you can be thinking of your questions. And Elaine, if there's any time that you want to chime in or a question that you would prefer to answer, please also, of course, feel free. So, Ro, welcome. We introduced Ro before. She's the current District 46 current district director. Any questions have popped up in your mind while listening to this?
The challenge of informing the clubs is really something that we are feeling right now because there's a lot of questions that some officers might be asking. So how do you propose that we start navigating the communication process to all the clubs? I'm actually planning to reach out to all the club officers, letting them know, as soon as I get all the guidelines, to make sure that I communicate with them which district council they should attend. Like, is it me or is it somebody else who should inform them? I want to make sure that, I don't, I am not an instrument to that confusion, but rather to this confusion thing, but rather provide clarity, especially for those clubs that are going to be affected by the move.
Okay, thank you. Rick, I see your hand.
I'm not answering the question. I'm just passing on something that I heard that the district council meeting of the current districts can happen either before or after the merger meeting. You do not have to hold your current district council meeting, spring council meeting, before the merger meeting. It can be after. And I understand that District 39, that's going into District 206, will be holding their last district council meeting after the merger meeting. So that's not answering the question, but some more information that I found out.
I think Elaine has her hand raised to answer that question.
Yeah, I do understand Rose's concern because basically we would have to make a distinction when we send out the notification. The districts, in this case, the two districts will be responsible for sending out notification about their district council meeting. The newly realigned district team, okay, will be, or transition team will be responsible then for sending out notification to those who are eligible to vote at that joint business meeting. I do understand that it can be a little bit confusing, and I would say to the districts, just focus on your meeting. And of course, people will be asking, the questions, but hopefully we'll make it so that it's distinct, that they will understand. They may not understand the difference, but at least they'll know that there is a difference. They're being asked basically to maybe asked to attend two district council meetings.
And I should say we also have Denise Collins here in the meeting. Welcome, Denise.
Thank you.
So that answer, she's the current district director of District 119. So that was a good question and a good answer that affects the whole panoply. Thank you. Michael Statini, welcome. Any questions or comments?
Thank you, Penelope. I'm actually going to ask you the same question I asked you yesterday during the leadership summit, which is for someone who wants to become an area director for the next term, like myself, how does that affect their eligibility to become an area director? Like, is it still the same process where the district director or division director appoints them? Because I know that someone asked that same question in the chat.
Yes, that was the most frequently asked question that I got yesterday at the Leadership Summit was how do I get to be an area director? And I'm saying to them, but no, you want to be a division director. No, so the process is exactly the same. You'll know after this transition business meeting who has been elected to be the district director, and that's the person that you'll get in touch with.
Yeah.
No different than ordinary.
Thank you, Penelope.
Okay.
One more reason to be right at that business meeting, Michael. To be at the transition meeting and have your paperwork ready to hand into that district director, and they'll be thrilled to have applicants for area director roles.
Oh yes, definitely. I couldn't agree with you more, Pat.
Denise, did you have any question you'd like to throw in now? And by the way, anybody you think of a question, by all means, raise your hand. I'm just going to go around the room because I think sometimes I want to make sure that everybody has a chance. Oh, wait, Rick.
What District 2 did is they held town halls prior to the new council meeting and showed them the realignment. So people knew at least a month and a half before the merger meeting of what the new District 2 would look like.
Yeah.
They also did some of that in District 21. So they published that they would have gatherings online, in person, and so you could come and bring your questions. And it helped diffuse some of the confusion and angst. Yeah. There's something about having conversation with people.
Kenny, I see your hand.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Palmer. So, yeah, I've been working on the alignment committee, and I know we've been working through several things, and things are going pretty well, and we've been working through the details. So, we're all pretty much familiar with it, and, we're trying to get through everything, and we're working very diligently. So, I'd just like to thank you for your presentation and getting us more information. So, yeah.
Okay, Stella.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Stella Muna. I'm the PQD for District 46. Thank you for your wonderful presentation, explaining everything. My main question is about how many votes, the representation of each district. Let's say, for example, a district has 200 clubs and it's merging with a district that has 100 clubs. The math is not going to work for the district with the smaller clubs. Is there anything that's going to be done about that?
If I may answer that, it's whatever the current numbers are for the districts that are merging that are part of the quorum. So for example, in the new District 2, District 2 was double the size of 9 and 32 that merged with it. But all the total clubs made the quorum of the meeting. So that's why 9 and 32 encourage their members to show up so their people who are running for office could be elected.
Yeah, but the smaller district is going to be at a disadvantage, even if all their members show up.
Technically.
Okay.
But they may or may not have somebody who wants to go on to higher office. But still, it's the members of the district council that decide which of the 2 or 3 people running that they would like to have serve them. It's the same thing when you vote at international. There's many people who are running for the board. What is your choice? You hear what they have to say and you vote. Same thing at the new merge meeting. Who's running and who do you want to vote for?
Stella, I hear your concern if you're coming from a smaller district and you're running and you've done a good job in your district and you're hoping to go on to the next level and you're lined up beside somebody from a bigger district. I would certainly feel angst if I was in that position, but I think I always give our members credit that they will recognize excellence when they see it and talk to it. So I would encourage you, if this is your personal circumstance or somebody else that you're talking to, just to encourage people to be the very best candidate they can be, and just to be prepared to be a strong candidate, and make sure that you they or you file your papers in time, and that you put a campaign together so that those districts, the people that are voting may not have known you, but or known this other person, but that are impressed. And I believe people will generally choose the best candidate. So I personally would encourage anybody to take it as a challenge to be the very best you can be at campaigning and promoting yourself. And I don't know about you, but sometimes that was a real challenge for me. But it's when we're uncomfortable, we're growing. So take it on, or encourage that person to take it on.
Thank you.
Denise.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you. This is a lot of information. Question, I just want to make sure that I was hearing right when Rick was going through a scenario that happened with another merger where there was not agreement on an alignment. So are you saying that because they know they can't disagree on what's happening, as far as forming the new district, but they can say, I think this club should be moved to a different area. Is it okay? Just want to be clear on that. And also, you were talking about that we could have our meeting before or after the merger meeting. Do we know when the merger meeting is at this point? Okay, I didn't think so. Okay, thank you.
I know when the merger meeting is for the five that I'm parliamentarian for, and I know that one of the districts, my home district 39, is planning their council meeting after the merger meeting for whatever reason. So I yield to those who are in charge if all the merger meetings are set. I know they're between the middle of April and the middle of May. They got a whole month to do. There's 35 merger meetings in North America, and they have a whole month to do it.
And also, we'll both be having our separate conferences.
Yes.
And typically, at our conferences, we swear in our new officers. So what is so obviously we won't be doing that. So is there what is the recommendation there that there be a separate just swearing in ceremony for the new district, or is that you'll just leave that up to the new leadership?
New leadership, my understanding.
Yeah. Yeah. Just think, Denise, the rare occasion where there's going to be spare time at a district conference.
We have thought about that. We did see that as a positive.
Each of the districts last year had a candidate showcase of who was running for the new districts. So 2, 9, and 32 had their own individual candidate showcase where the people running came to that showcase on Zoom and participated. And same thing with 21 and 96. So to the people in charge right now, prepare a candidate showcase before the merger meeting so people know who's running.
Yes, we plan to have one candidate showcase with all of the candidates running. We're not separating them out. It's one new district. It's one slate of leadership. I feel very strongly that has to be made clear.
Yes, I think that's a great idea.
And somebody posted in chat, that's where your 2 minutes count. Make sure you as a candidate, utilize your 2 minutes and don't get clapped down.
I think overall that for each individual district to really do your very best in your planning to create a level playing field, because you're all coming together to create synergy in a new district. So to look at how do you invite all the candidates to represent so you can have the best leadership in a new district that's going to have a lot of challenges, as current district and past district officers recognize. There's a lot of challenges in district leadership as a learner leader. And so to, on top of that, have a brand new collegial group come together in new areas, and that's going to have a whole bunch of challenges. But I think that respectful integrity part of having an open forum where every candidate comes together to represent who would be the best candidate for the new amalgamated district is a fabulous gesture of welcome to one another and respect. I think it demonstrates our core values to the T.
Okay. Bob Palmer, I know you've been putting helpful things in the chat. I appreciate that. And you're certainly very experienced with all of this stuff going on. Any comments, questions, or additional wisdom?
Not at this time. It's a really good workshop so far, though.
Okay, we'll keep it going. We're going to try our best. We'll keep the level up with calling on Kath McGowan next. Kath?
Hi there. I don't think I do have a question. I was when you were talking about the officers, I was just thinking in my head, so how would that work if you had four votes? I guess if you're VPE, you can give one of your votes to the president if he needs it. Like this, it'll work the same way. Um, is that right? Somehow you'll figure out how to like move your extra vote to somebody else.
Right.
Okay. That was my only thing. And yes, I was the one that wrote about the 2-minute speech. I've seen people win, Stella, because nobody, VPEs and presidents don't know all these leaders who've been busting their, butt all year, and all of a sudden someone gets up and says, "Oh, I'm great, and I've been doing all this stuff," and they can be convincing. So just be ready. And we will have area contests now, so you can bring your flyers or at least shake hands, be helpful, get to know people.
Well, we'll have to send out more about the campaigning.
Uh-huh.
Our specific rules and times and deadlines that are a little different this year about the campaigning. So campaigning is not open, is not on the
I
paper
forgot
yet.
about that. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I can't tell you what they are at the moment, but I know they're not.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
And you've already decided the alignment for
the alignment has been announced.
It's been announced. Okay, great.
I don't know that it's up on any websites yet, but it has been announced. Elaine, are we waiting for some kind of approval before it can be publicly announced? Because I know my committee is.
Yes, we can tell people that we will have 8 divisions, but because it's gone out anyway.
Uh-huh.
But the announcement itself will be published later.
Do you know when? Is there a date, or is there a timing that's involved, or we're waiting for some?
Not at this point.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. I'd like just to say something to those people that are interested in running for division or district office around campaign speeches. Do not write it the week before. If you're going to run for office, write it today or tomorrow and practice it. Integrate it into your being so that it's very authentic, because you don't want to memorize speech. You want to get up and speak from your heart, and you want to have internalized that. So if you're ever going to internalize a speech, internalize your 2-minute campaign speech. It's your next challenge as a communicator / leader. So I challenge you, do it tomorrow, no later.
Okay.
Like they say, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday or last year, and the next best time is tomorrow. So do it as fast as you can, and then work on it. Yeah.
Lois, any comments, questions, thoughts?
Yes, thank you. You've answered a lot of my questions already. I do have a question. I invited several people to this meeting, especially the District 12 trio, and I'm just interested in when the recording of this will be available.
Well, that's an interesting question. Generally, our forum recordings are only available to our virtual parliamentarian members, but maybe we should talk, our officers will talk about whether in this particular case, since it is a wider, was designed to be a wider informational service, if it's okay with Rick and Pat.
Yeah.
And Elaine, who I would say are the sources that are giving specific information. If none of you have an objection, then I believe that we can make the recording more widely available. But I cannot speak. I'm only one of 7, so I cannot speak for my fellow 6 officers.
And Penelope, you have my email. If they want to get a hold of me, they can contact me directly.
Okay. We will discuss that, Lois, but thank you for raising that question.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I appreciate it.
Okay.
And the script is in the chat. Hopefully you can download it.
I have already.
Okay.
Thank you.
Shweta, the 2 districts in our case here that are merging are 46 and 119 with a tiny bit, with one club from 83. And it's not a matter of absorbing, it's redrawing the border. The border of District 46 will now be as large and as complete as it, and include what is currently District 119. It was decided to keep the district name, which has been district number, which has been a little confusing. I know some districts have decided to go with an entirely new number and abandon their old number. But District 46 is split twice in the 20 years I've been in Toastmasters and is now re-merging again. So it is keeping its numbers. Okay. So does that answer your question that's in the chat? And did you have any other questions, Sveta? She says, thank you. I guess not. Move. Oh.
There's
Sorry.
the map.
There's what? I'm sorry, Rick, are you? He's showing you that what is 46 is that little part at the bottom there that has all of the boroughs of New York City plus some of Westchester. But I think it's a little hard to. I appreciate the attempt, but I think it might be a little hard to see on this, Rick. So we'll wait. As Elaine says, the actual map will be made public and posted soon. So you can see it then. Denise.
I'm good. You're on mute, Penelope.
I don't know what I'm doing that I keep muting myself. Louis Staples. Comments, questions, thoughts?
I don't have any questions. Actually, I do have a link to the realignment map. I can put it in the chat if people are interested. It's on the website.
The realignment that Rick was just showing.
Yeah, I'm going to put a link on the Toastmasters website. I'll put it in the chat if people are interested.
You're not talking about the actual realignment of the new District 46, I hope. No, you're talking.
No,
about
it's a global. It shows
global
the
yeah. That's what Rick was putting in. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Mary Nishimoto. Comments, questions?
Yeah, I first want to thank this meeting for being organized and being able to discuss the realignment, the mergers, and some of the processes. Thank you, Rick, for sharing your proposed script, because I found that really helpful as well. My question has to do with the realignment, the specificity, because I know the realignment committee has already put it together. And I'm wondering about the timeline when it gets published so that it enables the districts or the clubs and the divisions being affected by the merger, and how a club is going to have any feedback in the realignment plan like we normally do when we weren't merging. And is the realignment committee thinking about steps, comments, feedback as before we have to actually come to the vote for the realignment? I hope I
Elaine
made myself clear. I'm
did. I
sorry
think
if I didn't.
Elaine had answered that, but I'm going to let her see if she has any further comments to add.
Okay, I'm not sure what the question was, is when the okay, we have two concepts here. We have alignment, the alignment within the new realigned districts. So is the question having to do with the alignment of the clubs within the new districts? Is that the
Yes, and it's about when
oh,
the clubs are going to be able to look at
okay.
that plan and comment and respond. I'm sure their comments are going to be responding to the realignment committee or to you, or I guess who's the realignment head? I forget. Um, but there's a process. Normally, within our own specific districts before merging, we had a way to give input and feedback on the realignment plan. And I'm just wondering, I would suspect there should be something in merged 46. And how is that process going to be? I know, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank here because how is it going to be? Are we going to be allowing, let's say, clubs to uh, comment on it? I know we are planning to provide that information to the current district trios.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, but I'm not sure in terms of sending it out to the clubs within the districts, and I really need to look at that and get back. I'll get back to
If I may add to
Penelope.
that, what happened last year, District 2
Yeah,
provided it in March
yeah, but
of last year.
I'm thinking so. We don't have all of the realignments done, so I don't want to publish it because some of the other districts have not completed, some of the other district teams have not completed their alignment as yet. And I really don't want 46, luckily, has gotten theirs done. So March sounds like a good time uh, to do it. Actually, all of the alignment teams are responsible for at least letting us know how many divisions there will be, and which is important for the district leadership committee. They need to get that information. So our target date for that is the end of January. I think was sometime maybe in February or so when they have all of the information together, meaning not only the number of divisions, and they do have where the areas are going to be, but there's some adjustment that needs to be done in terms of the clubs themselves to do some balancing. That is not complete, and we won't really publish it until it is complete. Because again, it's not just a matter of it, putting how many. First, number one is how many divisions. Number two, where the areas are going to be specifically, and then make sure that we confirm where the clubs are going to be, like especially for online clubs, and make sure that they're well balanced. So I would say towards the end of February, early March.
May I comment on the alignment, because I'm a member of alignment committee, and I can say that we did prepare the draft that the alignment committee voted upon, and all clubs aligned, and our alignment chair sent this information where he was supposed to send. So we do have the alignment project. So everything as of now has been decided upon within the alignment committee, but of course we have to follow the official procedures before this project may be available publicly.
Yeah, I think what Mary's talking about is there's always a vote in at the final district meeting as to whether we accept the alignment. And so
No, there's no vote. There's no vote. But what Anna is saying is right. I mean, District 46 already, their alignment committee is kind of ahead of things. However, I'd like to try to kind of schedule them all around at the same time, even though the District 46 team has already, it's pretty well in terms of where the clubs are going to be. So no, the vote for the alignment will be done at that merged
right. That's what I would imagine.
business meeting. Yeah. But of course we will share it with the trios and for any comments.
Right.
We need a better
Thank you.
need a better name for this meeting. Is it the district merger meeting? Is it the district I've heard the district transition meeting. I've heard anyway, we need a better word,
This district transition sounds good.
District transition meeting. Yeah. Okay. So that's where the vote will be, Mary. So nothing is happening. And that the earliest date for that meeting is April 15th. So panic not. We're not there yet. Let me keep going around so that we get our meeting on time here. Daniel Ross. It's the middle of what is it? The middle of the night for you?
Well, no, it's in the morning. It's about 11:15 in the morning.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
So we're good.
Wide awake, coffee in hand. Okay.
That's right. Exactly. Yes. So maybe kind of a strange question, and maybe it was mentioned before. I'm just not very clear on it. For the proxies, let's say you have 2 votes, or maybe you have 3 votes. I'm wondering for the credentialing, do you credential by the human beings that are breathing and moving and sitting in chairs in the room or online, or do you count the votes they have to present? How do you do the quorum? How do you do the credentials? I'm wondering about that. If someone can.
If I may, those who registered prior to the meeting.
Yeah.
That's why I said you physically don't have to show up. You just have to register.
Okay. So when you register,
show up.
Okay, but so let's say you register, you're counted as 1 person, or you've got 3 votes, you're counted as 3.
Well, it depends. If you're an area director and you also club president and VP Ed, you could end up with 3.
So for the quorum, you're counted as 3 people,
Depending
or 3,
the
number of 3.
No, not for the quorum, because the quorum is only your president and VPE position.
Right.
You'd count as 2 for the quorum and 3 for votes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because the district leaders, they don't count to a quorum. I see. Okay, right.
But the credentials committees, at least I know here in our districts, are very good about when you register saying whether you are carrying 1 vote or 2. And you have a separate registration if you're just a deck member.
Yeah.
So for the presidents and VPEs, when you register, you have to choose whether you and your fellow officer are each carrying a vote, or whether one of you is carrying both votes. And that's part of the registration process.
Right.
And that's what determines the quorum.
Yes. Okay. So that would be the quorum too. Okay. So the number. So thank you very much.
And then election buddy or election runner is configured to give you with your email address. Your registration email address is weighted so that if you're okay, and you can divide your votes that you carry among candidates.
Okay, maybe one more follow-up question very quickly. I'll try to make it really, really brief. Okay, for the weighted voting, I know about that very well. Now, someone joins the meeting, they didn't register ahead of time to get into election buddy. They join the meeting, they do have votes because they're a president or whatever. They can't vote?
They missed the cutoff.
There's a deadline.
Oh, for registering to be president? And then they show up in the president?
Oh, no.
They can't vote?
No. They don't have the right to vote, but they can show up at the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a right to vote.
Nope.
Oh,
There's always a deadline.
Register.
oh my, wow. Okay, thank you very much. We had that happen and there was a big, yeah, it was a very, someone was very angry. I'm here, I can't vote. What do you mean? So, and they were there and I thought, well, they should be able to vote. They're voting members.
Only if they don't have a quorum and they recess the meeting to obtain a quorum. Then you would go through the whole roll call or the credentials, and then that person who didn't register on time would have a chance to vote. But if you don't make the cutoff, too bad. You missed.
Okay. And the cutoff could be days or weeks before the meeting actually starts?
Usually 2 days in advance, I believe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like if the meeting is on a Saturday, it would be a Thursday midnight because the credentials, the committee, the voting committee needs a day to program election runner or election, whatever.
Election buddy or whatever, yeah.
It takes a while.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Hardik, comments, questions? Hardik Modi, are you able to come off mute? Okay, moving on. We'll come back to you. Jody Sanders, welcome. I didn't see you there. Nice to see you. Comments, questions?
Thank you. This has been very educational. I've really enjoyed listening to the speakers and appreciate what everybody has shared. My district went through a different process a couple of years ago. We were in one of the very first groups, and so we didn't actually have what you would call a merger between two viable districts. We had one district that essentially put themselves out of business, and then some of their clubs were apportioned to our district. So that was a completely different process, not nearly as complex as this, but I was very interested to hear what was going to be happening, and this has all been very enlightening. So thank you very much for allowing me to come and see it. Thank you.
That's great. Robert Dong, welcome.
Thank you. And the question I originally had was the question that you asked Penelope regarding that one club in Staten Island in District 83 that's moving into District 46 and whether their deck gets a vote or not. But then my question is, Division A, currently in District 46, they're moving out of District 46. Most of the clubs in Division A are moving out of District 46. So does that Division A director and those area directors get a vote in the new District 46 District Council meeting? That would be my question.
It sounds like they do. Like because it's where their areas are, right? So if their area is in the new district, that's where their vote would be.
Yeah. Because most of the clubs in Division A right now, they're moving out to District 83.
Right. So those clubs will all vote in the other meeting.
Okay. So they won't vote in District 46's new or their district council meeting.
Correct.
For
They'll
electing.
Vote, right. They'll vote in the regular spring business meeting on if anything comes to the old current District 46, but in terms of the transition meeting, they will vote with the other.
Got it. Yeah, I think that makes sense. The only thing that complicates it is that it's not the entire division. There are some clubs in Division A that are staying in District 46, and there are some that are moving to District 83.
What I heard was that they have to then make a choice. They can only vote in one or the other.
Got it. That makes sense. Thank you. Okay. But great meeting.
Yeah, these things are important. That's one thing our club tries to desperately to do is to hold meetings that give information on how parliamentary procedure and actual real life Toastmaster business, what they have in common, how they work together. Amir Asadi, welcome. Any comments, questions? Going once, going twice. Jonathan Yu, welcome. Comments, questions?
Thank you, Penelope. Thank you, everyone. I think we helpful. I think we learned a lot today. But I think one thing the part that I've been hearing and more confusing is I think Robert kind of touched that is so the deck member only have one vote for whichever. I guess they have to pick one of the district if some of the club moving to another district, right? So that's kind of what I was. So not like a deck member if they have end up their club belong to multiple district, they still can only vote for one district, not just I can go to one and the other. So it's their choice. I think that's always confusing, but I think it's pretty clear for me, so thank you very much.
I would suspect, Jonathan, that there'll be more specific guidance from the districts on that. I don't think division directors will be left wondering where they vote. I think there should be some clear information on that. Certainly when your plans get put out and where everything's going, then you'll have somebody specific to ask about your personal circumstance. At least I know we did in 21.
Okay, great.
Okay, thanks, Pat.
It's reassuring.
The other thing, I was just having a private conversation with Ratty because looking at when the VP of Education and president carry the club votes, that it's important. Like we were talking, I was asking if the club president, for example, could give their proxy to the Ed VP to vote, and we believe that can happen, but you can't give your vote to another member of your club. So it has to, the president or the Ed VP can carry those votes, but you can't give them to, say, me as a plain member in your club. So when you're looking at getting your club votes there, you have to have your president and or your Ed VP, or ideally both them there with the proxies. So if you're not on the executive or you're not the Ed VP or the president, you can't take your club votes and be the proxy holder.
And
it's another one of those wrinkles.
And if I may add, it's the person of record at world headquarters. So
yes.
Make sure your proper club executives are registered at world headquarters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Loretta.
Joseph, Joseph has his hand up.
Okay, Joseph.
Actually, I had a question. Can for both means, either for the DC or the merger mean, the unified new district mean, can there be a proxy assigned to those votes or not really?
No.
Say if the president or the VP can't come, but they sign their proxy.
No.
Would they have to do it prior?
There's no proxy voting, Joseph. The VP, Ed, or the president has to carry the vote.
Okay. Thank you.
So the credentials chair would ask the president or VP Ed, are you voting 1 or 2?
Right.
Then the credentials chair would mark how that club is assigning its votes.
So what I also heard you say, though, is that each district should be sure that it has appointed its credentials chair. And if they haven't one, they need to appoint one. And
Correct.
It does not have to be the current one. I mean, each district is responsible for having a credentials chair to drum up its registrations. Okay. Loretta, welcome. So glad to see you. Almost see you behind your picture there. Questions, comments? It was nice to see you at the summit yesterday. Loretta. Going once, going twice. Okay, I have circled around all the Zoom things on my screen. And unless there are, Roddy.
Thank you, Penelope, for inviting me to my own home club, one of my clubs. And it was very interesting for me to hear all the questions being asked. While we on the board try to make decisions that are beneficial to our districts, and we think we're communicating clearly and doing it right and trying to get the timing perfect, it's very beneficial to hear from our actual leaders and members how they see it, to see how we can improve this. So it was very interesting to me. I just want to make a few points. 119 and 46 used to be together more or less just about a dozen years ago. And now we're coming back together, maybe not exactly the same configuration, but 95% the same, I would say, or 98. So it's like family coming back together is how I see it. And I just want to tell the district leaders who are running, from my experience, competition makes you a better candidate. I have always had competition, and it always makes me more determined to do better. And the campaigning rules will be sent out. They're very clear. Please follow the rules. But I think it'll really help you be a better candidate. And one last thing that I want to say is that this is an opportunity for District 119 to say, this was the last year we were district leaders of this district. You are already got the Excellence in Leadership Award, having been distinguished several years in a row, 3 years in a row or more already. So please keep up the momentum. You have that opportunity. District 46 was President's Distinguished last year. So let's finish in glory the way we used to be and then merge. And I think this is a golden opportunity for you. Thank you, Penelope.
Wahoo! On that, I will say before I turn this back to our club president that we hope that those of you who enjoyed this meeting will enjoy coming back to our February Sunday forum, which is going to be about disciplinary trials. I mean, how could you ask for anything more? So, thank you all for coming to this meeting. We do meet regularly on the first Wednesday of the month as a regular Toastmaster club. And then we have this Sunday forum once a month where we specialize in parliamentary issues. And we generally have a meeting once a year to explain to people what a DEC meeting is for new DEC members and what a normal spring business meeting is before the normal spring business meeting. So, I'm sorry, AJ, did you have a quick thing before?
Yeah, just a quick one. I'm going to look at the campaigning rules, like it's mentioned, to look at. But I know long ago in the old days there was no restriction on. We actually have a demonstration, and then we have all this parade with banners and placards and everything, and that went out, and we actually have parties. Well, and then electioneering, someone just gave all the candidate say go vote for this. No, but I'm sure those are restrictions. But my second question is, I know you have a campaign speech 2 minutes to promote yourself, and I was wondering, I know that concession speech are not so common now, but are you allowed to give a concession speech?
No. Thank you, AJ. Okay, so I will turn this back to Barbara Proctor, our club president.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, for a most excellent meeting. We had a lot of questions. Hopefully you have a lot less questions. You have a lot of information, and we will be at our executive committee meeting after this meeting. We will be voting to allow the video to be disseminated to non-members because of the special topic. So thank you for attending. Please, you are always invited to our Sunday sessions. You are invited to our club meetings on the first Wednesday of every month. Thank you for attending tonight, and we hope to see you again in our new districts.
Thank you, everybody.
Club members,